does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review. And today I'm very excited to check out Alicematic from Japan-made games. It's for 3 to 5 players. Take about an hour to play, and it's for ages 12 plus. And in Alicematic, you're playing as Alice, and you're trying to be the best Alice or something. Not quite sure what the theme is about. You're going to be building up a tableau in front of you to kind of specialize your armies and do various different things better than other people, but you're going to have persistent special abilities and one-time use special abilities. And there's it's all an area control game at its core. There's lots of different things going on in this game. Let's open it up. I'll explain it to you, and I'll tell you what I think. And we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Alicematic. So first and foremost, we're going to handy-dandy rulebook, 9 pages, double-sided, full color, full of pictures, illustrations, examples, and it's very well done. Big thumbs up on the rule booklet. So in Alicematic, you are going to be taking control of one of the characters from Alice in Wonderland, the Mad Hatter, Humpty Dumpty, the cat. I've got the Heart Lady here, the Queen of Hearts, I guess you'd call it. And you're going to be playing an area control game. You're going to be trying to control these various different tiles out here. And if you have those controlled, then you're going to get points at the end of the game. But you can also gain points in a bunch of other different ways by attacking various different spots, by playing white cards, which might score you points now or might score you points at the end of the game. But let's just talk about the components, and then we'll get into the gameplay. So component-wise, you're going to set up the game board something like this. If you have more players, then you'll set it up. So right now I have a 3-player game set up. There's extra tiles that you can use. They even give you 2 extra tiles, so there's a little bit of variability. But let's just look at a tile, and I'll show you exactly what's going on here. So in the center is the city, and that's going to tell you how many people can go on that spot. That's very important because having control of a city, especially if you attack a city, is going to give you points, but it's also going to allow you to attack all these spots around the outside for free. You're not going to need any food to attack these spots. Down here is what's called a mystical forest. I'll talk a little bit more about a mystical forest later, but you cannot pass through a mystical forest unless it's completely surrounded, and you can't attack a mystical forest unless it's completely surrounded and you have the majority of things surrounding it. That'll make more sense a little bit later. So I've already set up the game for a 3-player game. At the beginning, you're just going to be controlling cities around the outside. You won't gain the special abilities, but you won't gain the points, I should say, but you're going to set it up like so. Next, you're going to set out your 5 cards in front of you like this, and we're going to go over what all 5 of these different cards do, because these cards are really the heart of the game. So over here, we have the red pile. And the red pile is all about attacking. So if I had 3 red cards on top of this, that means I would be able to attack areas that have 3, 2, 1, or 0. So for instance, I could attack this one right here because it has a 3. Now you might also notice that there's 4, 5s, and 6s, and sometimes what you might need are these tokens right here, and I'll tell you about how to get these tokens a little bit later. But the red cards that you have on top of this red, or the cards that you have on top of the red, is just going to dictate your attack string. Next, we have the yellow one, and we'll put the same 3 down here, like so. The yellow one is going to be about purchasing cards. So, as you can see in the upper left-hand corner, all of the cards are going to have different costs to them. Some of them are free to play as well, which are really nice, but the higher the cost, obviously, the better the cards you're going to get. And so this means that I have $3 already to purchase cards, so I could purchase any of these cards for free. Every single time I can play them face up, and I will get the special ability on the bottom. We'll talk more about those special abilities later. So the yellow spot is just going to dictate how expensive cards you can play. Once again, you also can get tokens for that, so now if I had this, I could play a 4 cost, but I would have to get rid of the token. We'll talk about food next. We'll talk about the blue and white last because they're very similar. So food, pretty self-explanatory. I talked a little bit earlier about how you have cities. And when you're on a city, that means you can attack any of the spots around you for free. You don't need any food to travel to these territories and attack them. However, once you want to start branching out and start attacking other parts of the board, you are going to need food to feed your people to march. So for instance, if I wanted to attack this one right here, I would need 1 food, 2 food to attack it, 3 food, 4 food, 5 food. You can see, so the more food you have, the further you will be able to go out and attack, which is actually pretty important. Once again, you also can add these tokens to go a little bit further, but once you use the tokens, they are gone. So food is going to allow you to attack various different locations, and when judging attack, you have to attack from your nearest city. So even if I was right here, I couldn't attack this one for free. I would still need to get 1, 2 food to attack it. So food is all about attacking. Now, the blue and white cards are a little bit different. Partially, there's no tokens. We talked about how there's green tokens and yellow tokens and red tokens. There's no tokens for blue and white. And blue and white, you're only going to gain that special ability when you attack either a blue or white area. So let's just say I had this currently going on. So I have 3 attack and I have 3 in my blue pile. The only way that I'm going to gain anything from putting stuff in my blue pile is by attacking blue areas. So that's in my best interest right now. I attack this blue area, and since I have 3 attack, that's fine. I don't need any food since I control the city. And so, since I attack this blue, I get the bonus of having 1, 2, 3 blue, 3 cards. I get to draw 3 cards into my hand, which can be really, really good because getting cards is huge in this game. So the blue one is all about when you attack a blue area, you will gain that many cards. Likewise, the white one, if I have 3 cards right here and I attack this white spot, boom, I would get just flat 3 victory points. So blue, the more cards you have there, the more cards you're going to get. And white, the more cards you have here, the more victory points you're going to get, but only when you attack those specific areas. So, we talked about the blue and the white. So when you attack those, you are going to get cards and you're going to get victory points. When you attack red, so let's say I did this attack right here, I'm going to get these red tokens, the red attack tokens. I'm going to get however many I have in this stack. So for instance, if I had a lot of attack, I might want to go for this red one because boom, I'm going to get 3 of these attack tokens, which I can then turn around and potentially attack a city, which is going to need 6 attack. One last rule I want to mention about placing cards down here is that you only get, you can only have 4 cards in a row, either face up or face down. So once you get 4, you are at the limit. So you're not going to be able to spread out as much as you want. Now there are cards that break the rules in the game for pretty much everything, but yeah, the hard and fast rule is 4 cards on top of it. Also for the yellow and the green, if you attack a yellow, you get that many yellow tokens like so, and if you attack a green, you get that many food green tokens. So let's show you how the game is played, because it actually is a very simple, straightforward game. You're going to start off with 5 cards. You can discard as many as you want at the beginning of the game, one time only. So I got, oh my goodness, I got expensive cards. I would probably get rid of all 5 of these cards. Just get rid of all of them, because I'm hoping to draw some zeros, hopefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now I'm the start player, so I would just start. So that's a much better start. So on your turn, what you're going to do, and it's very simple, you are going to play 1 card and then you are going to invade. 99% of the time, you're going to do that over 14 rounds. Luckily, you have 14 of these little counters, which can kind of help you keep track of how many rounds you've played. So, on your turn, you have, when you play a card, you have 2 choices. You can either play it face up or face down. If you play it face up, where you can see the card text, you have to pay the cost in the upper left-hand corner by looking at your at your pile right here. Now, unfortunately, I can't play any of these 4 cards face up, but I can play this yellow card face up. So when you capture a city, gain 1 resource token. So I would definitely want to play that one right here. So now I would look around the board and I would see what I could capture. So I could capture a couple different spots, and I probably will just to block other people, but unfortunately nothing really is going to help me at this point. So I might just take this and go right here. I don't get any victory points, which is a bummer, but I do now have a little bit closer to majority on this tile. So that's my entire turn. Boom, I'm done. Now, what I also could do is I could flip it to the other side to kind of claim the land, but say it's under attack, but someone else could steal this. So, I'm not going to do that. So now it comes back to me. It's my next turn. You notice I don't draw any cards here. How do you get cards in this game? Well, you get cards in this game by playing cards face down. So let's say it gets back to my turn. I need to play another card out into my row right here. And I want to focus on getting some really expensive cards out. So I'll take this one and I'll place it face down. Now, when you play it face down as a commoner, you immediately get to draw a card. You don't get a special ability, and commoners aren't going to help you for endgame scoring, but getting an extra card can be very useful. Once again, I now have 2 that I can play, which is kind of a bummer. So I might just go over here and take control of that one. So that pretty much is my entire turn. You're just going to continue to play a card and then invade an enemy territory. So once you've played 14 rounds, the game's going to end, and you're going to look at area majority. So if you control an area, if you have more than anybody else there, you're going to get 6 points. If you're in second, you're going to get 3 points, and if you're tied for second, you get nothing. You lose. You're also going to get points for how many face-up Alice cards you have. So, for instance, if I had 4 face-up red cards here, and this is another big thing, you can only play cards on their corresponding color unless you play them face down, then you're going to get 4 points. So, for instance, if I had these 3 blue cards right here, and nobody else had any more blue cards, had more than 3, I would gain 3 points. So you're going to get points at the end of the game for area control, for all your white cards that you have here that say score points at the end of the game, and then also for the number of face-up Alices you have on top of each of these rows, assuming you were in first place or tied for first place. You also will have gotten tokens throughout the game. Now, the last way you can score points is by attacking these Mystic Forests. I told you I was going to come back to them. I'll come back to them a little bit. So once a Mystic Forest is completely surrounded by people, like say this Mystic Forest is now completely surrounded, that means that the person who has control of the Mystic Forest is the person who's surrounded by it the most. So for instance, purple could attack this Mystic Forest, no one else could attack it. And if you attack it, you have to attack it with a power around it. So 1, 2, 3 territories around it. This one, for instance, would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But when you attack it, you also get that many victory points. So attacking those can be very lucrative. Last thing I forgot to mention is that when you do attack a city, not at the beginning, but during the game, you get 3 victory points for immediately attacking, which is another great way to get points. But that in a crazy jumbled nutshell is how you're going to play Alicematic. Alrighty then, Alicematic from Japan Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. First, on the con side, game's not going to be for everybody for a variety of different reasons. 3 to 5 players, somewhat restricted player count. Also, this is the kind of game where you're going to want to have all the information before you start the game, because where you place cities is very important in this game, but in that token, there's a lot to explain when you're first learning the game. You need to explain all the 5 cards down in front of you. You need to explain how attacking each different spot is different and will give you different tokens or different cards or victory points. You need to explain the difference between commoners and Alices and how, playing commoners is easier and it lets you draw cards, but then playing Alices is going to give you special abilities that you'll be able to use either throughout the game or one time. But at the same time, Alices are also going to help you for endgame scoring, and there's a lot to take in when you're first learning this game, so you need to be aware of that. Another comment I have with this game is the theme. The theme completely, I hate to say it because the artwork is very beautiful, but the theme feels completely pasted on. You never feel like you're doing anything at all resembling Alice in Wonderland. It's just, hey, I'm building up this tableau. Hey, now I can do this special ability. Hey, now I'm invading this spot, or I'm taking this city, or doing this, and I'm going to the mystical forest. The theme just falls to the wayside. Also, artwork, not my personal cup of tea. I can't see. It's absolutely gorgeous artwork, but it's just not for me. Any other cons I have with this game? Oh, I wish that there was more unique cards. That being said, this is a nitpick. Let me stress that. This is a nitpick. There's tons and tons of cards in this game. They all do various different things, and you're not going to run into duplicates too terribly often, but I wish there was more special unique cards and less duplicates. But that being said, moving on to the pros, let's just get down to the nitty-gritty. I was not expecting myself to like this game as much as I did. I love this game. I will be keeping this game. This is one of my favorite games that I played this year. I just want to lay that down. So what do I like about this game? Wow, there are so many cool aspects of this game. You're going to be building up the tableau. And at its core, it's a very simple game, but the choices you make are very interesting and very meaty and very just... Oh, you want to be forward planning because it's like, oh, I need to be looking at my area and where I am. I need to be looking at how much food I have. I need to be looking at how much battle I have. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, I know I need to put cards down in red so I can attack various different areas. But I really want to put all my cards in yellow so I can start playing all these juicy megalomaniac cards, which are going to give me these cool special abilities. Or you might be like, oh, I really need to put stuff in green so that way I can spread myself out and I can start taking over various different cities because, spreading out is really going to get you a lot of points at the end of the game, because even if you're just in second place and somebody else controls every single territory on a tile, if you just have one there, then boom, you just nailed yourself 3 points. But at the same time, it's like, oh, I want to get to all these various different cities too, because getting to cities is going to give me victory points, but then it's also going to allow me to spend less food to attack different things. But then there's the blue ones. And the blue cards, I like the blue cards. I will say you kind of have to focus your strategy on the blue cards, but the blue special abilities you get from the Alices are super good. Like, they're the kind of stuff where it's like, I'm not really invested in blue at all, but man, I really like these blue special abilities, so it's like, ugh. And then, of course, for you soulless people, you can go white and just get victory points, but blue to that. I want to do fun stuff. I want to be invading, and I want to get cool special abilities. I don't just want victory points. I like how when you attack different areas, it's going to give you different perks. So it's like you can kind of have this forward planning, like, oh, I really need to attack a red so I can get these attack tokens so I can attack this city. But at the same time, there's no reds around me to get these attack tokens. So I need to first attack a green so that way I can get food. So that way I can get these attack tokens. I like the fact that once you know what you're doing, you can kind of plan your next turn while everyone else is doing their stuff. It makes it go a little bit more fluid. That being said, if someone has analysis paralysis, they can slow the game down a little bit. But it says 60 minutes on the box. Once you know what you're doing, I say you can easily knock this out in 40, 45 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, once everybody knows what they're doing. I like how the in-game scoring works. I like how it focuses on a lot of different things. I like the Mystic Forest. Like, you don't really realize that the Mystic Forests are a nuisance until you have two of them in a row, and then you're like, I can't get through here, so I have to spend all this food to go around it. But those Mystic Forests can get you a lot of points, too, especially if they're in the center of the board. I love this game. I love how everything works in this game. I love the I love the Megalomaniac cards. I love building up the tableau. Huge fan of this game. Highly recommend it. I was not expecting that. Alicematic from Japanime Games. This is one of my favorite games of the year. This is definitely one I think everybody who likes strategy games should at least give a try. Ignore the artwork, ignore the theme if those are turn-ons or turns-offs to you, but just gameplay-wise, very cool game here. That is Alicematic from Japanime Games. Highly recommend checking this one out. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know. Alice in Wonderland. Do you like the theme? Have you read the book? Personally, I read the book. It was for a class. It's not my cup of tea. It's an interesting book, but a lot of symbolism in that book. But let me know in the comments below. Do you like the book? And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.